Hey everyone, this is Caleb with Rock Video Rental, and we just want to tell you a little bit more about hosting a podcast on Anchor. It works great for us. We actually have 2 podcasts on this platform. It's free and easy to use. Anchor helps distribute your podcast for you on other popular platforms. Their creation tools are easy to use, and you don't need a fancy computer. You can do it from your phone. And an added bonus too, it's easy to make money. Even if you have a small listenership or a big one, there's a way that you can still make money from it. So learn more and check it out by downloading the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm today to get started.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Blue Bros 2. This time it's personal. I am your host Brandon, and with me as always is Caleb. Caleb, how's it going?
I am just so excited to be able to look out my window and see snow.
The snow stuck around for you guys?
Oh yeah, it's like all over the place here. I mean, like a good inch or two.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, I only live like a little over an hour from you, and yeah, all of our snow melted.
Yeah, well, you suck.
Yeah, it was really coming down today when I was at work, and yeah, it was really uplifting.
Just makes you feel good.
Yeah, the fact that winter is right around the corner is it's thrilling.
Yeah, I saw it snowing, and at first I thought it was just gonna be like one of those like little blizzard or flurries. That's the word I was looking for, where it doesn't really stick on the ground. But it went for a good portion of the day, and it's still sticking there. So yay for us! Thankfully, I don't have to drive all that far really anymore since we moved. Because that's the thing that I hate most. Well, I don't know what I hate more: driving or having to shovel it.
I would say shoveling it's worse.
But what's worse than all of that is having to put up with you. Burn!
The feeling's mutual.
I'll be here all week.
Unfortunately. Yeah, and since you are here, it is your turn for Did You Know?
Did you know that Brandon sucks? You got me with that one. No. Okay. So, serious. Did you know though? I'm actually going to share something that Brandon is well aware of now because we discussed this, and I thought it was very worthwhile to mention on the show because it kind of blew my mind a little bit. And it's something that we've talked about on the show before. We're talking about Stranger Things. Do-do-do-do-do. And so if anybody remembers, the coworker for Steve at Scoops Ahoy, wasn't it called, I think?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, at the ice cream shop. There was a girl that was his coworker there. Her name was Robin. I found out that her name is, I believe she pronounces it Maya. And I found out who her parents were just through, some of the random spam stuff that you get online. And I was shocked to find out who her parents were because they are very well-known individuals in Hollywood. So some people might don't know this, but Brandon and I, neither of us knew this. So Maya is, in fact, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter. And so I hope everyone listening knows who those two people are, at least Uma Thurman. If not, that's okay. You're probably that decent chance just means that you're rather young, but maybe not, depending what kind of movies you watch. Uma Thurman is most popular for the Kill Bill series, Pulp Fiction, and the not so big hit Batman and Robin. And then Ethan Hawke is probably best known for Training Day with Denzel Washington back in 2001. He did some like cheesy chick flick drama stuff too. A couple other
The Purge.
Yes. I knew there was something else that was relatively well known. There, he was in The Purge. He was also in a movie from the 90s called Gattaca, a sci-fi movie, if anybody remembers that one from a long time ago. Assault on Precinct 13. I forgot about that. Not that super well known, but one well known one, but a long time ago was he was also in Dead Poet Society. So
Rock. I think he was also in Sinister.
No, he wasn't. Shut up. Actually, I don't know. I'm looking. When did that come out?
Not too long ago.
Oh, he was in Daybreakers.
Within the last 5 years, I think.
Sinister.
2012.
2012.
7 years ago. He is in that.
He is? Oh, yep,
Yeah.
there it is. There it is.
That was a okay movie.
He was in. Wait, what? Oh, the new Total Recall. I was like, Total Recall. I forgot them. Did you ever see that? The new
remake?
One? Yeah.
No, I have not. I heard it was okay.
I didn't either, so interesting.
I had no interest because I like the original one.
Yeah. Yep. So anyways, if you are familiar with those two, that actor and actress from Hollywood, it may surprise you that Maya is their daughter and the actress in Stranger Things. So that kind of surprised me. Honestly, kind of like when you look at her and you look at Uma Thurman, you can kind of see it. But anyways, that's did you know? Not so crazy out of left field, did you know this week, but I thought it was well worth it with how much we talk about Stranger Things. So
oh yeah. Yeah, that surprised me too. I guess I really didn't even look too far into her history. I think I saw her name and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool name.
yeah.
I mean, it's always kind of cool when your last name is Hawk.
Hawk.
Like Lincoln Hawk from Over the Top.
Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Tony Hawk.
You have to call me Dragon. What was the other? Nighthawk was the other one, right?
Nighthawk, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, her acting, Maya's acting career has not been super long. She just started acting in 2017. So.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought she was relatively new.
Yeah.
But moving on, let's move into our main topic. And the main topic for this week is the episode of The Office entitled Dinner Party. Usually when you see a list of the best episodes of The Office, this is usually number 1 or number 2. Very popular one. It is from season 4. It is episode 9. The plot for it is Michael invites Jim, Pam, Andy, and Angela to a couples-only dinner party, which makes Dwight very jealous. However, the only thing he's missing is a ringside seat to witness Michael and Jan's extremely dysfunctional home life. And that is straight from IMDb.
Nice. That's a good explanation of that.
Yeah, it's nice wrapped up there. I mean, if you guys have never seen The Office, I can give you the cast here. You got Michael Scott played by Steve Carell. You got Jim Halpert played by John Krasinski. Pam Beasley is Jenna Fisher. Angela Martin is played by Angela Kinsey. Andy Bernard is played by Ed Helms. Dwight Schrute is played by Rainn Wilson. Jan Levinson is played by Melora Hardin, and Melvina Whitaker is played by Beth Grant. And that is basically all the characters in this episode.
Yeah, I wanted to address that because it's rather interesting. I mean, first of all, The Office, as most everyone is well aware of, is relatively low budget, or was
Mhm.
relatively low budget, because they use so much of the same space and they didn't really like do anything too crazy for a majority. I mean, like, no, not so much. I'm sure that they had to at different points CGI and different stuff, like again those sci-fi shows and everything. But this one is extremely entertaining and well done for the fact that it takes place at one location pretty much the entire time, with maybe the fewest characters used in an episode.
Yeah, I think so. It starts off with, they're at the office and, you kind of find out that they're there doing some extra work, like they have to stay late and work on things. But we quickly find out that, that was basically something that Michael made up. And he's like, I'm gonna call corporate. He's like, we don't need to be staying here late. And he puts on like this big show where it's obvious that he's faking a phone call to corporate saying, um, we're not gonna work late. You can't make us do this. These people are my friends, and we're just not gonna do it. And then he comes out and he says, all right, it's like you guys can go home, have a good weekend. And like before that, he was talking to people like he said the gym. Um, what do you got planned? And Jim's like, well, it's like we got to work late, so don't really have anything planned. Michael makes that call, comes back out, and he's like, hey, how would you and Pam uh, like to come over and have dinner with Jan and I? And Jim's like, oh, well, maybe next time. And Michael's like, well, you said you didn't have plans. So basically, he just like traps Jim into there's nothing he can come up with, so he's pretty much has to do it. And he also invites Andy and Angela. Dwight's upset because he doesn't get invited, but Michael says, it's couples only. He's like, plus I only have 6 wine glasses. So, Dwight being the proverbial kiss ass that he is really disappointed that he doesn't get to go and have a nice dinner party with his boss.
Well, he's also Michael's best friend.
He always says that. Yeah.
I love how like throughout the whole thing he like gives himself his own like titles and responsibilities. Like he names himself the assistant to the regional manager, and then he names himself Michael's best friend.
Yeah. Uh, and basically, he's there. He's just sucking up because Michael's his manager, and through the series you see it all. And then there's times too where he thinks that Michael's not going to be his manager anymore, and he just like quickly forgets about him. So it's obvious that he doesn't really care. He just he wants the attention, he wants the praise, kind of thing. Trying to move up by being a sycophant, but. So once they get all that figured out, and there's no way out of it. Michael's been asking for months, trying to get them to come to dinner, and he trapped them. It's one of the few times where you get to see like Michael actually being clever and somewhat smart compared to the way he is in the rest of the series. Uh, there's a few other ones that stand out, like when he was doing the negotiating with the Michael Scott Paper Company. You see like these little glimpses of like almost like genius come out, and it's funny because you get to see like sometimes Michael is really good at some things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he's like socially retarded, I guess, for the most part. I don't know. He just
and then he also like just moments of genius. Another one being when he landed that huge sale and Jan was with him and they hooked up the first time.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was
like,
with. The city.
Yeah, I can't remember
something.
either. I think it was something like that. Yeah, the city or like Lackawanna County or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And so he just like eventually like he finds his way through. And also another one that, because I'm rewatching it, whole entire show right now, and another one that popped up was when they had that conference and Jim was at the other branch,
Mhm.
and he said that they got an in with a company, or he got an in with a company, and they said that's impossible, they're exclusive to Staples, and he said that they weren't anymore, and just like that at the most random times he will do something smart.
Yeah, and you gotta believe like that's what keeps him his job.
Mm-hmm.
That he's just completely devoted to the company. Um, yeah, so I mean, he finally gets the people to come to his house. He's been trying for months. Everybody shows up, and you get to see like the inside of Michael's condo for like one of the first times. I mean, the other time we got to see is when he purchased it, and Dwight came with him. But things have drastically changed now that he's with Jan. Basically, Jan has taken over his entire condo and redecorated the whole thing. You get a small glimpse right at the beginning of how awkward Michael and Jan's relationship is. Uh, they like excessively call each other babe, which is, I don't know, to me it's just hilarious because there's a part where they're going to start a tour with Jim and Pam. Is like, would you like a drink or would you go on a tour? And Jim's like, yeah, well, we could take the tour. That sounds all right. And Michael's like, do you want to do downstairs or upstairs, babe? And she's like, it's your choice, babe. And he's like, all right, babe. So you get to see they go on this tour, and they're just this is like one of the most uncomfortable episodes, I guess.
Yes, like The Office
So
does that a
incredibly
lot.
awkward.
I struggle with episodes like that sometimes. I even was telling Kristen, my wife, about it, where I was just like, I know when they're filming this that it's got to be a lot easier to do because everyone understands what's going on. But
Hmm.
while you're watching it, you're thinking of it like as if it were real, and that just makes me uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah, and one of the first things you get that's uncomfortable is they go upstairs, they show um Jan's like, this is my office. Michael's like, yeah, it's never been used. And you can see Jim and Pam give each other like a weird look. In the next room they go to, and Jan's like, and this is my workspace, and it's full of candles. Uh, it, and Pam says, you have a workspace and an office. She's like, yeah, I can't really like create and work with my candles in my office. Like I have to have a separate space for that. uh,
Yeah,
and
and for context, if people know this, recall with this show, or it's been a while, this is the portion where Jan is unemployed. She's no longer working for Dunder Mifflin.
right, she was
So,
just released from Dunder Mifflin. She attempted to have a lawsuit for like wrongful termination,
mhm,
and that didn't go as planned. Now she's got like her own candle business that she's trying to get off the ground.
quote unquote
And
candle business.
basically, it's brought up a whole bunch of times
We'll
throughout
get
the
to that.
episode. Yeah, and it just in different ways. Uh, and you could tell at this part too, you get another glimpse into how awkward their relationship is because Michael says something and you can see like just the look on Jan's face, and she's like, sometimes I come up here when I'm just irritated or upset or mildly annoyed, and I just smell my candles and all goes away. And Michael makes, throughout the episode, you see Michael like making little comments and stuff, and Jan just like obsessively smelling a candle to try to calm down.
Yeah, that was
It's just,
she got she got mad that time about the James Bonfire.
yeah. Her name's Bonfire, James Bonfire, Michael Scott. But it's just the little things that the show does like that. How it could just be a throwaway line, Jan saying that she smells candles to kind of calm down, and it just continues through the whole episode, and it's just little throwaway things like that they're really good at with continuity. Uh, they go into their bedroom, and Michael Michael goes in with Jan, and they're like showing the room, and Jan like looks over and looks like mortified that there's a camera set up next to the bed on a tripod. And in an earlier episode, Michael talks to the women of the office. He like confides in them and like the relationship that they have, and Michael makes a comment about how Jan likes to videotape them having sex and then makes him watch it and gives him pointers afterwards.
I forgot
So
about
it's
that.
kind of like the reoccurring things too. Um, and Jan's like, Michael, I told you to put this away and you didn't do it. And Michael, you see Michael just like a little giddy little smile on his face, and he looks at Jim and Pam like he just wants them to know. And then from there, uh, Michael says something about, or Pam mentions a little like bench at the end of their bed and how it's cute, and Michael's like, "Yeah, thank you, that's my bed." And everybody just kind of pauses for a second, and Michael says, "Yeah, Jan's got space issues, so I kind of just curl up on this bad boy and sleep here." And Jim's like, "Well, it's kind of small." Michael's like, "No, it's not that bad. I just kind of curl up here," and Michael like lays down on it almost in the fetal position just so he can fit on it. uh, just making Jim and Pam like extremely uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and then from then they go downstairs, and then Andy and Angela show up, and it's like they rehearse their lines because Jan and Michael do like the same thing. You want to go on the tour? You want to drink? It's up to you, babe. Where you want to do upstairs, downstairs, kind of thing. And you can see like Jim and Pam kind of just look at each other. Um, yeah, I mean, after that, you get they're just sitting around having some drinks. Um, they like open a bottle of wine, and what was it? Jan mentions about how what they're gonna have to eat and everything, and uh, Pam's like, "Yeah, so when's it gonna be ready?" And Jan says, "Well, usually was it Osco Busco or something like that? They're having
Oh,
some like Spanish dish."
I don't even know, man.
Yeah, and she's like, "It usually takes around 3 to 4 hours," and Pam's like 3 to 4 hours from like 2 hours ago, and Jan says, um, you know, Pam, sometimes in Spain they don't eat until midnight. And Michael says, when in Rome, which makes no sense. But that's kind of like a reoccurring thing too, is that Pam is super hungry and the meal is just taking forever. And it'll just come in like little comments and like the little talking head moments they have in the show where Pam keeps mentioning how hungry she is. And it takes forever for them to like get the meal ready.
Yeah, I would lose my mind, man, if I was in that situation.
Right? And there's even a part too where she says, uh, it's like, I don't care what happens, I just want to eat. And I know that's a lot to ask for at a dinner party. uh, um, yeah, and it's like shortly after that where um, Jan says something about putting music on. So she gets up and she goes to CD player and she mentions how she's like, I don't know if you guys remember my old assistant Hunter. He actually has a band, and she puts a CD on, and the name of the song is "That One Night." And basically, the song it's heavily implied that
Something
Hunter
happened one night.
and Jan hooked up or something, and she took his virginity.
Yeah. Oh man.
Which you can tell like it makes Michael feel really awkward, and then Jan starts doing this dance. It's really, really awkward, and everybody just kind of sits around and looks at her. And at one point, she takes Jim's hand and tries to get him to get up and dance with her. And Jim just like kind of looks at Pam and then looks at Jan, and he just like sits there while Jan like holds his hand and dances and like spins around and stuff. Oh gosh, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I was trying to remember some of the lyrics of that song, but I wasn't. So I'm trying to remember. Would that have happened when she was in a relationship with Michael though? That
Um,
that one night thing would have happened, or did they take a break somewhere in there? I'm trying to remember.
no, it was either right around the time when her and Michael were just fooling around and they weren't exclusive, or after they split up for a little bit. Because there was a part where they split up for a little bit and Michael goes out with Carol, his realtor, and he screws that up, and then he gets back together with Jan.
Well, no, it wasn't during that. Just like short interjection here, because right where we're at, they just disclosed their relationship with David Wallace.
Oh yeah.
And then the episode or two after that is the one where Michael fights for his raise, and he goes to Jan's office, and that's where you meet Hunter. So they're in a relationship at that point. So unless there's another break after that, she basically cheated on Michael then with Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, which
Is not surprising.
is not surprising because you could tell it's blatantly obvious through the series too, especially early on, that Michael is more into Jan than she is in with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has some strange attraction to him that she can't figure out. Basically, she got a divorce and her life is like spiraling out of control, and Michael's like one of the few people that makes her feel good about herself or something like that.
Yeah.
So basically, she's just using him to make herself feel better while he thinks he's in a serious relationship. Yeah, I feel like there's like another awkward moment as well where
Yes. So where did we
basically
leave off?
throughout
We
the
left.
night.
It was the music, and then
Mhm.
that was where we left off, right?
Yeah, and they started playing charades.
Yeah, there we go.
And basically Michael is just super wound up and shouting and everything, and you can tell it's just annoying Jan just greatly. Uh, and it's just, you could tell that they're just not meant for each other. And there's actually a part too where they start arguing by the doorway about says something about, you want to do everything, why don't we just do everything you want to do, kind of thing.
Oh,
And
that's when Dwight shows up.
yeah, because Dwight shows up shortly after they play charades. Dwight shows up with his own date. He shows up with a cooler, and he shows up with 2 wine glasses. Because, like I said earlier in the episode, Michael says that he only has 6 wine glasses.
Yeah. And that's when the infamous, whatever dialogue happens that he and Jan have.
I mean, there's a few in this.
The
one
vasectomy one.
Yeah. They said they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do, and Jan's just like, I can't remember what that's all about, but she says, okay, it's like, let's just do what you want to do, like we always do. And Michael's like, really? Like we always do? He's like, how about when I said that I wanted to have kids? And you said you wanted me to have a vasectomy. And what did I do? And then you said you might want to have kids. And I wasn't so sure. Who had the vasectomy reversed? And then when you said you definitely didn't want to have kids, who had it reversed back? Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. He's like, you have no idea the physical toll that 3 vasectomies have on a person.
That's one of the best parts right there.
And then, what they were arguing about is that Michael was allowing Dwight to come in, and Jan didn't want him to be there. Yeah, shortly after that, they have like a talking head part in the bathroom where Jim says to the camera that Jan and Michael seem to be playing this game of who can make their guest feel more uncomfortable, and they're both winning.
Yeah. And now an interesting thing that I want to bring up, and I kind of want to ask you is, you were talking about Dwight and his relationship with Michael earlier. This is a weird point because Michael and Dwight go back and forth a lot on like, okay, are they really friends or are they just coworkers and that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And Michael sometimes hates Dwight, which there's actually kind of something that doesn't make sense at the end when he doesn't want to leave with Dwight. But then when Dwight shows up, he wants Dwight to come in and stay. And he originally wanted Dwight to come to the party, but Jan told him that he couldn't come because it was a couples event, but he brought somebody with him and he brought wine glasses. So that part, I mean, I get it. It's just like a simple small scene and everything, but it's just like sometimes Michael wants Dwight to hang out and them to be friends, and then other times he just can't stand Dwight. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing I picked up. I watched this episode at least like 2, maybe 3 times to get ready for this. So
yeah, I've seen it probably like 20 times, I think, in my life. I watched it twice last week. Yeah, always funny. It was right around this time too where Jan has Pam and Angela go with her into the kitchen to go get more wine, and Jan is talking about how Michael's messy, and she says to Pam, "She's like, I'm sure you know that from experience." And Pam laughs, says, "Yeah," and then she's like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "Oh, you can't tell me that Michael's really changed that much since you guys dated." And then Pam is almost like mortified. She's like, "No, Michael and I have never dated." It's like, "I've never wanted to do anything even coming close to resembling dating with Michael Scott." But apparently that's not what Michael told Jan. And you could see like jealousy anytime Michael does anything for Pam, or like says anything to Pam. Jan just like burns holes through her with her eyes. There's a part where they're sitting in the living room and Pam is cold, so Michael like takes his jacket off and hands it to her, and Jan just like stares holes through her, and then she tells a story about why their sliding door is broken.
Best story ever.
Basically, what it was is that Michael ran through it trying to get to the ice cream truck.
Because he thought he heard the ice cream truck.
Yeah, he thought he heard the ice cream truck. And he said it was so clean that it was like see-through, and he didn't know that it was closed and ran into it and broke it. Obviously a story that embarrasses Michael a lot, but Jan doesn't care. She just wants to tell it, and it's just another like insight into how terrible their relationship is together.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it all comes to a climax where the food is finally done. They're sitting at a table. Dwight and his date, who actually was his babysitter as a kid. And Dwight actually brought folding chairs too, if you didn't notice that.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that was one thing that I noticed this time watching it, that he brought his own folding chairs too.
Nice.
So basically, he brought everything he needed. He brought his own food. He brought his own wine glasses. He brought a date. He brought a cooler to carry it all in. And then he brought his own folding chairs just so he could join.
Always prepared.
So Jan starts bringing the plates out. Michael leans forward and says to Pam, like, he's like, be careful with the food or something like that. And Pam's like, why? And he's like, I'm not quite sure, but I think she's trying to poison me. And you get like another talking head moment with Pam where she's like, I know Jan didn't poison the food. I know that. It's like, but the fact that Michael um, had to tell me is concerning. And if she's going to poison anybody, who do you think it'd be? Me, Michael's former lover? uh, so they finally they're sitting down eating and having more awkward conversation. And there's a part where Michael takes like his meat and he's dipping it in his wine, and Jan asks him not to do that. Um, and he's like, "I have soft teeth, you know this. Like, how dare you?" They like the argument gets bigger and bigger, and I got one of like my favorite quote from the entire episode, and it's a back and forth between Michael and Jan, because Jan gets upset and she starts playing Hunter's song again, and starts like obsessively smelling candles, and Michael says, "Jan thinks Hunter is very talented. You know what? I don't think he's that good. At least he's an artist. BFD. I'm a screenwriter. And I'm a candle maker, but you don't hear me bragging about it. No, you just get me to try to work on my rich friends for an investment opportunity. Oh, I'd love to burn your candles. You burn it, you buy it. Good, well, I'll be your first customer. Well, you're hardly my first. That's what she said. And they're just shouting back and forth at each other while everybody just sits there like deer in the headlights. Um, and it ends with Jan getting irritated and she grabs one of Michael's Dundies and throws it at his TV. And
Oh,
I
the
don't know
TV that we
why.
never talked about.
We didn't even mention it, and it's one of the funniest parts. So there's a part earlier on with the TV where they're doing the tour, and Michael says, I've finally done it. I've broke down and I bought myself a plasma screen TV. And they like zoom out and show the TV, and it's like 19 inches.
Yeah, baby.
And he has it on a wall mount. uh, and he says, I love this TV. I can stand here for hours and watch this. And basically, you find that the only things in the apartment that are Michael's are his Dundee trophies, his plasma screen TV, and this terrible looking end table that he made for Jan's candle to sit on.
What is that? Chestnut?
I think it's Nordic cherry or pine.
Oh, I'm just terrible at these things.
No, that's what he says. Like, that's the actual dialogue.
Oh yeah, no, I know. And Jim was playing dumb. That's one of my favorite parts right there. So, well, and actually, a funny part too is that he mentions. So when Jan breaks the TV, he talks about good luck paying me back for a $200 plasma TV on your $0 annual salary.
Yeah, I had that as another my favorite quotes.
Oh, sorry.
So I had the snip snap one. I had the whole exchange with the screaming. That's what she said. And the quote with the TV is, "That is a $200 plasma screen TV that you just killed. Good luck paying me back with your $0 a year salary plus benefits, babe."
There you go. Yeah, I had to mention the $200 because it's kind of funny. I'm looking at stuff, just kind of looking at what's going to happen on Black Friday because looking at maybe a TV. And so, gosh, when was that? What year do you think this episode came out in? Like 2006, maybe?
2007, 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2008, so like a little over 10 years ago. So now here we are 10 years later on Black Friday, depending on where you go, you could probably pick up a 55-inch flat screen 4K TV for $279. 55 inches, and he spent $200 on like maybe 19 inches.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, he could stand there and watch it for hours.
yeah, cracks me up.
So, all this comes ahead. Their big argument around the table started with Michael taking down a painting and hanging up a St. Pauli girl beer sign. Which I forgot to mention as well. So, whole fight, she breaks the TV. They're screaming at each other. They hear a doorbell, and it's the cops. And the cops say, someone called the cops because there's a bunch of shouting. So, I want to make sure everything's okay. And Michael says, well, my girlfriend just smashed my TV with a Dundee. And he's like, would you like to press charges? And he's like, well, will she get in trouble? And like, yeah, we'll take her to jail. And he's like, oh. He's like, no, don't do that. He's like, okay, then just don't press charges and it'll be okay. And he's like, maybe he's like, do you have a place to go tonight? Maybe one of your friends will go. And he instantly looks to Jim, and Jim's like, no, my apartment's on fire. And Pam says, no, it's flooded. Remember, like, because he made an excuse earlier trying to get out of it by saying his apartment was flooded. So it ends up like, of course, Dwight's like, he can come with me. And Michael's very disappointed about it. The next thing you see, like, Dwight's driving around with Michael, and he drives him around for a while until he falls asleep like a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And we get Chip and Pam. They go to like a Coney Island place, and they're eating hot dogs, and Jim and Pam are like calling each other babe excessively, like Michael and Jan, and Jim's like, I have to confess, I did something bad, babe. And he pulls out Hunter's CD, and they put it in the car, and they're like singing along to it and like laughing at it. And you get Andy and Angela are having ice cream, and you can see like some of the dysfunction in their relationship as well.
Oh yeah. I don't know which one's more dysfunctional. Those two relationships are so screwed up.
I think it's got to be Michael and Jan.
They're both pretty bad.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I mean, I've already kind of dropped my favorite quotes, and you mentioned how the Nordic cherry or or pine table was one of yours. Did you have any other ones that were your favorite quotes?
Yeah. The exact exchange that happened when Dwight showed up at the party.
Mm-hmm.
So the door opens and Dwight's there with his babysitter, and Dwight says, hello. Jan's like, what are you doing here? And Dwight replies with, we came here to eat dinner and a party. This is a dinner party, right? And then Pam's just like, awesome. Like, she doesn't even care that she's hungry anymore because Dwight showed up. So, but I just love how he describes as, we came here to eat dinner and a party.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of how we talked about it. This show, some of the writing and just like the dialogue in it is some of the best ever on a TV show. And it's not even just this episode; it's the series in general.
Yeah.
I mean, along with that, like the acting is incredible. Steve Carell, he just does a great job as Michael in this series.
Mm-hmm. And Jan makes it too. I feel like this, like Jan has always done a lot of different stuff before this, and you see her different, like, I don't know, desperation mode or crazy mode, whatever you want to call it, where she acts really weird. But this was one that really highlighted her,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess kind of give you the full picture of her level of crazy, and it just, I don't know, it was perfect. That it she's used, man, I can't remember. I feel like she kind of isn't used as much kind of after this point in the show quite as much. Except for maybe the baby incident and everything, but it was kind of maybe the pinnacle for her character.
Yeah, because after this, her and Michael split up, basically all stemming around this crazy dinner party. Yeah, and like you said, she's seen a little bit later in the series, when her and Michael T is like getting back together, when she is having the baby and everything. Um, yeah, but the more I watch the show, the more I come to like appreciate the character of Jan and
Oh yeah.
just how she changes through the series. Because when you first meet her, she's Michael's boss, and she's very like straight business, not much of a personality, not much of a sense of humor, and you could tell that she's just very annoyed that she has to deal with Michael on a regular basis.
Hmm.
And as it goes on, you get to see like you know that she's like insanely irrational and just borderline like insane in parts of this episode. Uh, you gotta see it because there's one where she just like hysterically laughs about something, and Michael calls her the devil, where it's like they're serious, like they're joking, but they're serious at the same time, and it's just really awkward. Um, and I mean, everybody else is great as well, but it's this episode really like brings out Jan and Michael.
Hmm.
Um, did you have any other favorite quotes in this?
I don't think so. Well, the another awkward one was when you talked about they were sitting down and they were drinking wine before she started playing music.
Mhm.
And Michael takes a drink of the wine and he says, "That is sort of an oaky afterbirth." And Jim's just like, "Wait, what?" And then they don't address it all. Like that's it. And then they just like move on.
Yeah. Um, and you can see like the look on uh, Jan's face as well when he says that. Like she kind of just rolls her eyes. Um, yeah, and there's like another part too that's kind of funny is when Jan goes off with the women and she's talking about Michael and Pam being dating at one point. There's also a point where Michael, Jim, and Andy are in the garage, and you can see like all of Michael's stuff in the garage, and he's like trying to get them to buy into Jan's candle company,
Hmm.
and that's insanely awkward too. Like, did you know that candles are the number one like fastest selling product in this like the aroma. So it's like the home aroma market or something like that. And like Jim gets a weird look, and then basically he calls out Michael for trying to like uh get them to buy in or make an investment in Jan's company.
Yeah. And then he gets cut off by Dwight showing up.
Yes. Um, all right. Yeah. I mean, with that, I've got a whole bunch of trivia and facts for this episode.
I'm interested for this.
I've got quite a bit here, so um, yeah, some really interesting stuff here. So the scene where they give the tour of the bedroom and Jan collapses the camera on the tripod and puts it under the bed. If you look between her and Michael, you can see a George Foreman grill set up at the bench where Michael sleeps. And it's a
Oh,
callback to the episode called The Injury, where
mm.
Michael calls in to Pam and he's like yelling and carrying on because he accidentally clamped his foot in his George Foreman grill. And that happens because he likes to wake up to the smell of crackling bacon.
Yeah.
So you can see there that he hasn't really learned his lesson. it's it still has the grill next to his bed. Uh, the cast has said that this was the most difficult episode to film out of all of them that they did because they couldn't stop laughing. And there's
Nice.
actually scenes too where you can see Pam and Jim, especially, laughing in the background, and they were just left in there, like they cover their mouths or try to like look away.
Nice.
I believe the part where you mentioned with the Okie afterbirth And Jim's just like, wait, what? And then you could see Pam like covering her mouth, trying not to laugh.
I think there was a part too where Michael was yelling at Jan, and you can kind of tell that he's trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
I can't remember which part it was, if it was about the TV or if it was about something earlier in that argument, but you can tell, you can see it when you're watching him, where it's just like he's trying so hard not to laugh.
So I mentioned the part where Jan says to Pam that sometimes in Spain, dinner isn't even eaten until midnight. There's a part where dinner is served. You can see on Michael's watch that the time shows just a little bit after midnight when they're eating.
Well, yeah, threat level midnight, man.
Like, I don't know if that was purposeful. I'm sure it was, which is just kind of crazy to think about. But if it wasn't, that's a really crazy coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first episode to air after the writer's strike back in 2007, 2008.
Oh, yeah.
And, when it premiered, there was 9.2 million people that watched it.
Nice. That's a good episode to kick off after that.
Yeah, it really is. And I mentioned earlier how Michael and Jan call each other babe excessively during the episode. Every babe was actually in the script. It was all scripted.
Nice.
Which I thought, I thought that was just something that the two people, the two actors just decided to throw in there. Because, with The Office, there was a lot of things that were scripted, but there was a lot of things, too, that were just open to improvisation.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the funniest moments throughout the series are all improv. One of them that I can really think of is where Michael is hugging Oscar after they find out that Oscar is gay, and he's trying to show like everybody that it doesn't bother him that Oscar's gay. In the script, they were just supposed to hug, but Steve Carell like kiss Oscar in that, and it just took it like over the top. So the really like awkwardness and just the looks on their face are natural. Like Oscar's reaction to like kind of push him away and just like the cringe face he makes is all natural.
Did they get it in one take, do you know?
Yeah, they did.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's a good one right there.
There's also a scene where they're in the kitchen and Jan is explaining that the dinner will take 3 hours. So earlier in the series, a lot of the reason why Michael and Jan get back together is because Jan gets a boob job.
Yeah.
And in this episode, she's wearing like a really like low cut like V-neck sweater. When she's explaining about the dinner, you can see Angela staring down at Jan's breast implants, and she's just shaking her head disapprovingly. And that was all like improvisation because Angela thought that would that's something that her character would do.
Oh yeah,
because she's so straight laced. And that was something I didn't notice until I looked up like a bunch of facts on this and then rewatched the episode, and it's funny. It's just really subtle but funny. So we mentioned Michael's prized plasma screen. Did you know that Michael's plasma screen is actually a flat screen LCD TV?
How dare they? I am
which is funny
triggered.
because like how many people are really going to notice that unless they have that exact model or like they try to look up that model.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it could have been planned because it's believable that Michael's character would just go buy an LCD TV and just say it's plasma.
Or not even know that's a LCD TV.
Yeah. So the broken TV is shown twice more in the series. There's an episode where Michael starts his own paper company and Pam goes to his condo to like help him start it up. You can see it in the background. It's still hanging on the wall.
Nice.
The screen's all busted up. And a second time is towards the end of the series where they have a garage sale in the warehouse, and Michael has it on his table attempting to sell it.
Nice. Well, actually, a funny thing is I didn't mention it earlier, but when you talked about the George Foreman grill,
Mhm.
that made another appearance too. I don't know if you were aware of that, but
Yep.
the episode where it was the bachelor party for Bob Vance,
Mm-hmm. Vance
and
refrigeration.
of Vance refrigeration, they had the party in the warehouse, and so he bought steak. Michael bought steak and was cooking it
Mm-hmm.
outside, and he brought his George Foreman grill in, and then Ryan found out that it was the foot grill. So
Yeah. He's like, "Is this the same grill that you clamped your foot in?" And Michael just kind of like looks at him for a second, then he just like admits to it.
and then he's like, I scraped all the foot off.
And the last kind of fact I have here, so the song "That One Night" that was by Hunter from his album The Hunted, that was written by the writers of the show, but it was performed by Ted Fancy, the guitarist and lead singer from the band The New Pornographers.
I don't think I know them.
I've heard of them before. I don't think I've ever really heard their like listened to their stuff. Um, yeah, I've heard of the name before. They're kind of just like an indie rock band that was popular at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean that's all I got for trivia and facts. You want to go into grades?
Yeah, sure. If you want to, if you're ready for that.
Yeah, so I'll drop the IMDb score for this. There isn't a Rotten Tomatoes one because Rotten Tomatoes only does movies. Um, but on IMDb, this has a 9.4 out of 10 for this episode alone.
Hmm.
And that is for 4,503 reviews on that.
Nice.
So what would your grade be out of 5?
I can easily go with 5 rocks on this because, I mean, it's in the context of the TV show. And so, with a good TV show, like my thought process of rating an episode of a TV show or a TV, any part of a TV show is kind of like comparing it to the rest of the show. And while this is a fantastic show and everything, this is one of, easily the top 5 episodes,
Mm,
in my opinion. So, yeah, I can easily slap a 5 on that and be good with that.
yeah, I have to go with 5 as well. I've said before that this is my favorite episode of The Office. Um, and a close second is Stress Relief Part 1 and 2. I don't know if you remember that by name. It's the
Uh,
one where they have the fire drill.
Yeah, and Stanley has the heart problem and things like that. I remember part of it, but I can't remember what's in both parts. So,
Yeah, basically, Dwight sets up a fake fire drill to make sure like everybody's ready and like test them. Stanley has a heart attack. They have to go through like CPR training. And Dwight's reprimanded. Um, Dwight's reprimanded twice in the episode. And then after that, like Stanley comes back and they're trying to get him to relax. And then Michael has a roast of Michael Scott to try to like
there we
because he
go.
says laughter is the best medicine. He's trying to make Stanley feel better. Um,
So that's the
Basically, just
second
ends
part,
up
right?
hurting Michael's feelings. Yeah, that's the second part of it.
Okay, there we go.
But yeah, I would say those are my two favorite. The dinner party is still my favorite, just because of how awkward it is and how uncomfortable it is, and just all the funny continuity and little Easter eggs and stuff that you just keep noticing in the episode.
Yeah. I just think that it's really well done too. And then, like I said, it's impressive for that show to be able to, take an entire episode, put it in one location with just a few characters and make it as well as they did.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, 5 rocks for sure. And with that, we can go into suggestions.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're every time now, don't you?
I know, yeah, it makes me laugh every time now. So, suggestions this week, it's my turn. Originally, I had The Office down as a suggestion. Um, it's on Netflix, at least for the time being. I think, doesn't it go off Netflix like next year?
I
Something like that.
so it's either 2020 or 2021. I don't know if I'm getting it confused with Friends. So,
Yeah, I can't remember. Either way, I don't know. Great show. If you haven't watched it, check it out. I suggest watching from the beginning
mhm.
because you get to like learn the characters and everything. Um, I always suggest that to people because there's a few times where I watched it in college and I couldn't get into it, but once I watched it like right from the beginning, I really started to like it, and now it's like one of my favorite shows. I'd say it's probably one of the top 5 favorite shows.
Mhm.
Yeah, so give it some time, check it out. You guys should like it. And the other suggestion I have is I've been watching this show called Cold Case Files on
Oh.
Netflix, and it's about true crime. It's about cases of kidnapping, murder. You know, I've almost gone through the season they have on there. They all have been murder. Uh, Basically, like they investigate it. They can't find out who did it, so the case goes cold because they have no more leads. Somebody revisits it like years later. Some of them have been like 20 years later. And with advancements in technology and just you know different witnesses coming forward and everything, they end up solving the crimes and like bringing the killers and stuff to justice.
Oh,
And
so do they solve all of them?
yeah, every single one of them's been solved that I've
Oh,
seen.
okay.
Yeah, so it's really interesting just what goes into it. Some of the some of the crimes and stuff are just crazy, like that take like twist turns and everything that you don't expect. But yeah, really interesting show. um I think the last season of it was 2017. It was on Annie for a while. It took a couple year hiatus, and they brought that one season back. Since then, I haven't seen any more episodes. It is on Netflix. It is on Tubi as well, which is free, and I think it's also on Amazon Prime. So, if you have any streaming platform, odds are it's on there. So, just give it a look. I've been enjoying that this week.
Nice.
Is there anything else that you want to bring up before we wrap up the show?
Nope, I think we're good.
All right. Okay, so now we come to our portion where we drop one-liners. And I can't remember who went first last time. Do you remember?
I think it was me. I can't say
Okay.
for sure. It's been a couple weeks, but I think it was me.
All right. Okay, so I'll drop mine here. And it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger one, so I have to do my terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation so you get the feel of it. There's someone in my house eating my birthday cake with my family, and it's not me. And that is from the movie The Sixth Day.
Oh man, that was a good one.
Because the only thing better than one Arnold is two Arnolds.
Exactly.
Arnold clones. All right, so what do you got?
Well, I'm going with his kind of partner in crime, Sylvester Stallone. We're heading back to 1993 with one of my favorite Stallone movies, Demolition Man. And his character is John Spartan. And so his quote is, and I wish I could do Stallone well, but I can't. It's like, but I'm just gonna say that you're going. I butchered that. Okay, I need to stop doing that because that's gonna mess me up. You're going to regret this for the rest of your life. Both seconds of it. I forgot about that quote. I was looking up one-liners and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that quote.
That's hilarious. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen Demolition Man.
I know.
It's been a long time since I've seen 6 Day as well.
Yeah. Well, Demolition Man, Sandra Bullock, and Wesley Snipes?
Yep.
Right? Yeah. And then 6 Day... crap, who's the other main guy in that?
Terry Crews is in it, I know that. He plays like one of the henchmen. Michael Rappaport.
There you go. That's who it was. But he like...
Michael Rooker is in it.
Yeah. Talk about these movies and you watch them again.
Robert Duvall is in it as well. Robert Duvall is always a good actor. Yeah. That quote always makes me laugh because of how Arnold has such a hard time with words like air and hair and birthday and ferret. Hero, birthday.
I feel like it's almost like a disadvantage or an advantage if you do an Arnold quote just because of his accent.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that. That was just like the first one that popped in my head, and I'm like, oh, I got to use that one.
Yeah, well, there's that. I feel like they almost copied it, or maybe it was vice versa. But what's the one from Jingle All the Way? Those are my cookies.
Who told you that you could eat my cookies? That's him and Phil Hartman.
Oh man, Phil Hartman, jeez.
But yeah, with that, we will get that posted up there. You guys can vote on it. So far, I am winning 3-1, I believe.
Dang it!
4-1, I think.
What? No,
it's either 3. I think it's 3-1.
You suck.
Yeah,
I think we need to,
because I know you've won once.
I think we need to do it where either we both do Arnold quotes, or we try to do quotes from the same person, or maybe quotes from the same. I don't know. I feel like Arnold is the easy way out.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to set some guidelines at least for Arnold ones.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's it. Like if we do Arnold ones, we both do an Arnold quote.
All right, that sounds like a plan. But anything else?
Nope. I think we're good.
All right, and with that, thanks for listening. I am Brandon, he is Caleb, and this time is personal.
You took me